The story begins when the ruler of Gisakira Kingdom summons Mutou Misuki from Japan to another realm to test him for a power known as pure concept. When the king calls another, a Japanese girl, while he is sent out of the palace, Mitsuki is taken aback. He encounters a priestess named Menou, who reveals that people from Japan with powers known as Lost Ones have been summoned throughout history. Menou murders Mitsuki quickly as he realizes his pure concept is very destructive in nature, exposing herself as the church assassin. In a flashback, a Lost One destroys Menou's village before being slain by Flare, the assassin who trained Menou. Menou infiltrates the castle where Akari Tokitou, a Japanese girl, is being held captive. Menou stabs Akari in the back with a knife, but she survives, revealing that she possesses the pure concept of time, which allows her to reverse time. In 3 days, Orwell demands Akari to be brought to her in Garum for a ceremony that will kill her while King Garasika is detained by the church for blasphemy. Momo is irritated that Menou has to spend time with Akari and insists on accompanying them to Garum in secret. Menou cautions Akari not to use her ability, but she uses it almost immediately to cure a little girl's damaged hand, causing Menou to divert the attention of surrounding royal soldiers. On the same train to Garum, Momo observes Garasika's warlike daughter Ashuna. However, Menou feels sorry for Akari as she's taking her to kill her. Momo, who is Menou's assistant, gets to know terrorists want to swap Ashuna for their imprisoned commander. As the ether crystals they consumed earlier absorb their bodies and create an armored warrior to destroy the railway, the beaten terrorists disclose the objective is a suicide mission, while Momo and Ashuna fall from the train during their struggle. Menou overcomes the warrior and then punishes Akari for putting herself in danger by forcing her to fight defensively with more force. Momo is irritated as her fight with Ashuna drags on into the morning with no apparent conclusion in sight. Menou can't escape the uneasy sense that the train crashed and killed everyone on board, including herself, implying that Akari must have sped up time for the whole globe and rescued everyone. Menou recounts her youth after being saved by Flare, as Menou and Akari continue their trek to Garum. Flare, who had her soul bleached as a result of her village's destruction, decides to teach Menou to be a perfect duplicate of herself after witnessing Menou's unexpected drive. Menou and Flare arrive in Garum in the present, and Akari requests Menou to take her on tour and show her the city later. Orwell greets the two girls at the church, stating the special room will be ready in 2 days. Menou is charged with investigating the inexplicable disappearance of young girls in the meanwhile. Menou entrusts the investigation to Momo, who managed to elude Ashuna so that she may follow her promise to Akari to go and explore the city. Menou and Akari spend more time together before entering the secret room, where Menou prepares to watch Akari's death. Meanwhile, Momo continues to look into the disappearance of the women and pursues a lead into the sewers. She meets Ashuna there, who suggests they form a temporary partnership to uncover what's going on underneath Garum. The two girls uncover a summoning room beneath the palace, showing that the noble sea of Garum is involved in the summoning. Menou attempts to disrupt the ceremony, but is apprehended by Orwell, who intends to use the chamber to wipe Akari's consciousness so she may utilize her pure concept to reverse her aging and become eternal. Orwell was later discovered to be behind the disappearance of women and the summoning of monsters, with plans to use Menou as a sacrifice to power the ritual. While Menou is fighting Orwell's monster, the Archbishop admits it because her tampering with an Outworlder's abilities led to the destruction of Menou's hometown. Just before she's about to be sacrificed, Akari's pure concept of time power kicks in, returning her memories, soul, and spirit to a specific place in time and allowing her to consciously wield her pure concept to its greatest potential before willfully erasing her consciousness, awareness of her power. Menou activates Akari's pure concept, which super ages Orwell to death. However, later, Ashuna departs. Menou and Akari, on the other hand, share disturbing visions of the future together, in which Akari unwittingly kills Menou after the latter fails to murder her. If anything like this happens, Akari desires to be murdered by Menou. Menou understands that the images are actual flashbacks from the future, and that Akari has used her pure concept to travel back in time some months after causing Menou's death, causing Akari to forget about their time together. Menou leads Akari to the sanctuary, which is obscenely a Lost Ones enclave. They stop at Libelle, a port city where Pandemonium, one of the 4 major human errors, had appeared and was sealed away. The 4th decided to murder Menou after learning of her presence in town, believing that she would interfere with her present goals. As she was about to develop feelings for Akari, Menou's willpower begins to fray. Meanwhile, Menou pulls a little girl into an Iron Maiden-like machine that draws her blood. Menou returns to Libelle with Akari after the failed effort to capture her in Pandemonium, only to be attacked by members of the Fourth. The assailants are defeated and apprehended, but Menou forces them to transform into monsters in order to prevent them from divulging any secrets. Menou admits that she placed monsterine into their meals, forcing them to obey her commands as she pursues her preparations against Menou in retaliation for her mother's murder. Momo starts looking into the source of the monsterine and runs across Ashuna, who is also researching the Fourth. Menou is able to acquire an invitation to a ball, which Menou is holding, but she is compelled to bring Akari along since she insists on going. Menou uses the ball to enter Libelle Island in search of the proof linking Menou to monsterine manufacture, but she's challenged to a battle by Ashuna. Menou fights Ashuna out of need and manages to dodge her, but she misses her chance to scout the castle. Meanwhile, Akari regains her memories while following Menou, trying to understand why the timelines have diverged. Momo infiltrates the monsterine manufacturing plant and discovers the girl within the Iron Maiden. However, this sets off an explosive trap, rendering Momo unconscious due to a poison spike. Menou requests that the authorities encircle Libelle Island after learning of Momo's discovery. Akari sees Menou with the aim of obtaining information from her as the authorities lay siege to the island. Someone informs Menou that Akari has regressed the timeline numerous times, which was now how she could modify it by getting the knowledge to achieve prohibited power. She creates a living shadow with monsterine and assaults Akari, but Menou comes just in time to save her. Menou then confronts Menou, who admits she sought forbidden power to provoke the Faust into murdering her as they had done to her mother, a lost one slaughtered by Flare. Menou mortally wounds Menou, who sacrifices herself to call the little girl, who exposes herself to be the human error Pandemonium. Pandemonium, like Akari, cannot be killed because of the nature of her pure concept. Menou continues to fight Pandemonium but quickly runs out of ether. Fortunately, Ashuna comes on the scene and gives essential assistance, helping Menou to imprison Pandemonium with a strong spell. Because more powerful entities like Flare have access to the Astral Archive, Pandemonium tells Araki that attempting to be killed by Menou's hand will be pointless. In addition, Pandemonium informs Akari that there is a method for her to return to Japan. Outside, Menou realizes that the creature Pandemonium summoned, like Pandemonium herself, can only be manifested for a brief time before being dragged back into the fog wall. She changes into a monster for one last fight with Menou and Ashuna before being completely pulled back in. Menou and Ashuna fight Pandemonium, but just when they're about to lose, Akari appears and saves them. Menou uses Akari's ether to boost Ashuna's sword and destroy Pandemonium. Pandemonium explains to Menou about the Sword of Salt, which can destroy any other pure concepts, implying that it could kill Akari. Menou is disturbed, and she wonders what she would do if she could eliminate Akari's threat without murdering her. Akari restrains her memories once more, and the two decide to continue on their adventure. Momo, on the other hand, notices Menou's developing closeness with Akari and promises to murder Akari in Menou's place. Another Pandemonium piece revives Menou, and it's hinted that Pandemonium is Menou's older sister, having been transported to this realm much before her mother. Menou accepts to assist Pandemonium in his mission to spread chaos over the planet. Pandemonium and the Mechanical Society human errors are beginning to get active, according to Flare. It all ends under the threat of Flare, who is energized by this news and decides to kill Menou once again in order to keep driving Akari to change the timeline.